Okay, here we are at the Yuba River. Last year, Sophia had an awesome field trip, and I was lucky enough to go with her as a chaperone. We went with H2O Adventures, and they had these huge rafts, and they taught us so much about this river. And right now, currently, it's the salmon run, so the salmon are coming and spawning. So we're trying to look for all that, but the problem was at the time of year we went, it was so late that like the salmon were dying, because after they spawn, they naturally die. It's just part of their life cycle. So we saw more dead salmon than alive salmon, and like looking for reds where they had laid all their seeds. But
first salmon spotted.
What did you say?
First salmon spotted.
What? Where?
Just right up there.
Gotta go check it out.
Right here was like this big.
And how many did you see?
No, one was like this, one was like this, and another one was like that.
That is so cool. You can see their fins like above because it's really shallow. That is so cool. So anyways, last year I asked him like, hey, can anyone come down here? And he said, yeah, anyone can just float the river. And then I asked him when the best time to come, and he said around Halloween. So today is November 3rd, 2 days after Sophia's birthday. So we are here to see some salmon. Are you excited, Babers?
Yeah.
Yeah. The girls and I are going in the kayak. And Teddy is struggling to put his wetsuit on. And he's gonna swim, which is crazy. He's crazy. You made it. Okay, the salmon came back. You can see all those ripples in the water. They were just there. You could totally see their fins and everything. There it is. You see that? You see that? Okay, here we are in the kayak. Woohoo! There's Papa.
It's a joke, Babers. Can you help me take off my
Where there's like
No!
all these dead
This
things.
is not fun. Look at what we're gonna crash into.
Oh my word. We're trying to wait for Papa. And there's some rapids going down the river.
Wait,
Here we go.
can we turn
Where
around?
were our first rapids?
We got wet.
It was a little treacherous. Favors. Sylvia, back up. What did you think of the rapids, Favors? She's upset. It was a little out of control. And this raft is not meant for rapids. And Teddy's over there swimming around. And his fins were like going all over the place. Like I was actually worried, but he was fine. It was crazy. This is dangerous. Sit down. Sit down.
Hang on, I'm trying to pull up my pants.
So when we did this with H2O Adventures, we had these big rafts, and there was several people rowing. And now we have a kayak, a blow-up kayak, and there's one person rowing.
Actually, all the kids had to run.
Yeah, everybody had an oar.
And look at how clear the water is.
Yeah, it's super pretty and clear. We've seen several salmon. The cool thing is that
You can't talk about it.
Teddy is seeing salmon underwater, which is awesome. Here we go!
These are nothing compared to the ones. Oh wait.
Alright, rapids are nothing. That first one was crazy.
This is just a gentle ride.
Dude, there are so many salmon, and they just like zip by. It is crazy. It was so cool. I think we might be stuck. We need your help. That was so awesome. They were just like, you just saw these shadows like zoom. It was so cool. Alright. Whoa, Babers! We're on video, Baber. Yahoo!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Woo!
Oh God! No!
Ah!
We're okay. We're okay. Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys spotted the salmon to the right. So I kind of go that way and I look, and there's 2 salmon. Then 2 more, 3 more come up, and 4 more, and then it's just like, and some of them were just big and already starting to die. And one was like coming right at me. I like put my hands up, and then it veered off. Another one veered off. It was crazy.
That's awesome. They were so fast too, right? They were like Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh yeah. We got more rapids up ahead.
It's so windy. Teddy has to pull us a bit. So you see these big banks, the miners traded those so they could mine better, but it messed up the river, and that affected the spawning, the ground habitat for breeding salmon. So now they're trying to fix all that. So there's some machinery over there.
Are you showing a picture of me?
And they're fixing.
Did you guys see any of them down there?
So we just had quite the adventure. Okay. We flipped. There were some rapids and they were pretty swift and they were pushing us to the side, and I was not able to like get us to go into the correct direction. So we were pushed up against all these branches, and I was having a really difficult time getting back to the mainstream. And so then Teddy came by, he tried to help us, but then we started taking on water. And so thankfully the girls were wearing life jackets because we always wear life jackets. And so Sophia just kind of swept out of the boat, and Babers was hanging onto the branches.
No, I jumped out of the boat.
Oh, you jumped out?
Yes.
Okay. So then I was trying to stay close to the boat because Babers was hanging onto the branches, and
Boat.
it was so... No, she was hanging onto the branches.
I thought she was hanging onto the boat. No, the branches.
No, the branches. Luckily, the boat was stuck, or else that would have been bad. Anyway, so
We almost
Teddy
died.
went on. Teddy and I were. He was snorkel fins. He was in the water.
Under?
I did, but then I swam back up, and then so I'm trying to use the branches to like climb over there, but I was just praying, and I was like, God, I can't do this. Like, I cannot. You have to do it, and so I'll do my best. So I was like, not even inching my way towards Babers, and she was crying, and Teddy and I were trying to yell at her like, let go. And so luckily Teddy had his big floppers on, and so he was able to get close and close. And so she finally let go, and then Teddy just grabbed her, and then he just paddled to the shore, and then I let go, went with Sophia, and then at that point
I grabbed a water bottle, and I saw like the other one, and it was so hot. The current was so swift, and I just let it go.
Yeah, everything went underwater or out, and so then
Including the phone.
Yeah. And so finally Sophia and I were together, and at that point the raft got
The life jacket was like up above the water, but like you could see it.
Yes, yeah, it was in the branches. It was stuck in the branches. One life jacket floated towards me. I grabbed it, and then at the same time, the raft floated towards us. So I grabbed the raft, and Sophia and I swam to the shore.
And everything was gone.
Everything was gone. Water bottles, shoes.
Babers had a brand new water bottle, pink.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that I'm just like,
We got to shore, and Mama said, "What did we lose?" And I said, "Everything, but the water bottle." And she
so
was like,
Babers'
"Shh."
brand new water bottle.
And she was like, "Shh, be quiet." I was like, "No, it's here." It was wedged like in the.
So us girls got together on the shore, and Teddy went back to look for what he could. So we, like, the things we definitely needed were the oar, my phone, and the life jacket.
No, we did not.
Well, we had the other life jacket, so we didn't really need that, but it was floating there. And so we could clearly see the life jacket, but it was so crazy because we prayed, and I just knew we were going to find the phone. Like, it's my phone from, like, for the missionary. Like, I got this phone specifically because it takes good pictures and everything. And I knew he was going to find the phone, and I knew it was going to be perfectly fine. And he goes over there, and he pops up, and he has the phone. And I'm just like, dude, how did you even see it? How did you? Because my phone was black. And he said it was just shining on, like, this little thing of sand. And the oar was trapped in the branches. And so we got that, and then we got the life jacket. And so I was like, dude, if we don't get the shoes, doesn't matter.
We found 2 shoes.
I'm shaking. That's the phone's shaking because I'm so cold. But yeah, it was quite an adventure. And
He found 2 shoes, but they had no matches.
yeah, they didn't have matches. So I'm like, why? And he's like, well, we got to pick up our litter anyway. So we did our best. But yeah, it was a crazy adventure. And we made it through.
Not fun.
Not fun, but I was so thankful for everything.
Like at the first part, there was
a giant rabbit. That was fun.
Oh, there was a giant one. I was almost crying because it was so big. But the second one, it was so fun.
Yeah, it was a fun
liked the
time.
rapids,
It was a good
except
time.
for the one that killed.
It was a long ride. It took us like 4 hours, and then after that whole accident, it was just like, let's get out of here. I didn't care about looking for salmon anymore, but it was so cool to see all the salmon. Teddy saw a ton. Like, maybe he can share a little bit about what he saw, because he had a good time.
I want some.
Okay, so what were your expectations going on the river?
I thought it'd be pretty chill. I mean, I floated the river, like I floated rivers before, so. It's like,
What about the whole fish experience?
I wasn't sure how many fish I would see, but I saw quite a few salmon, but the most were at the top above that riffle. So, they were like, oh, there's salmon over there, because you could see them from the top. But when I went in the water, and this, mind you, I'm just hovering, I'm not touching the ground or anything, so for the eggs and all that, it's all safe. I wasn't interfering with that. I'm just floating along like a boat. But yeah, it's cool because you see them, and some of the salmon were huge. I mean,
Wait, did you see eggs?
No, I didn't see eggs.
Oh.
But some of the salmon were huge. So a lot of them were they had a bunch of ick on them, and they were looking like they were on their way out. But there was one I saw that was looking really good, and it was just like, I saw it from above, and it was just like its head, like, wide and thick. And there were some that were just like beasts.
So you said you saw maybe like 20?
Yeah, I'd say probably total 20 out of a 2-mile stretch.
And then that was longer than that.
Okay.
It was long. It was a long stretch. And then what other kind of fish did you see?
I saw carp. A lot of big carp. I think maybe a Sacramento pike minnow. But those are big. And then easily over 100 carp. Because some of them would just be schooling. And they were big. I mean, we're talking like, they were big.
I didn't realize that. So you were seeing fish all over the place.
Yeah, there was a lot of fish. And then I saw a lot of trout too.
And the water was clear.
Yeah.
It was like from the boat we could see to the bottom in most places because it wasn't too deep. But even so, like how far do you think visibility was?
Maybe 15 feet.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really clear.
But the trout, there was a lot of trout. There was a lot of trout fishermen too.
Yeah.
They range from, little ones, pan size. So there were some decent, 17, 18 inchers, bright looking ones. So yeah, it was good. And then like when I went to that first school of salmon, like you're going downstream and they're facing upstream, and so they're coming right at you. And so at one point I like put my hands up like this because it was like, you see these big hooked jaws, and then they just veer away, of course. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see him.
That's cool. So then what did you see? So let's talk about that crazy experience. So what did you see? You saw us trapped in the branches.
Yeah, so the rapids were sketchy. I think they were more. I was worried about you guys at first, but then as I was going through, I'm positively buoyant with my wetsuit and stuff, so I wasn't like worried about sinking or drowning or whatever. But still, like there's rocks that come up, and if it was like bright up top, but then like the water was shadowed, it was really hard to see what was coming. And so sometimes rocks will come up. You don't want to get bashed on. I mean, like it's not like you're not gonna die, but it's like it hurts, And
so were you getting bashed around on the rapids? Yeah. What were the rapids like for you?
it was fun. For the most part, they were fun. At one point, like at the tail end of the rapids, I like dove down because I could see it was like just this big rock and it was deep. But it's like that's why you have to be careful because you think the current's going to do one thing, but you feel like your legs getting pulled one way and your arms getting so it's like a huge swirl. So it's
so you also mentioned like your flippers.
Yeah. So my flippers are big, like free diving flippers.
What they're like? How 3 feet?
No, they're not that big. I mean, they're not like your standard little
2
short
feet.
scuba one. But so then those get when you go down rapids, you're supposed to float on your back and go feet first. Well, I got my mask, I got my I want to see it. So it felt like you were flying a lot of times. You just put your thing down. But when it was I put my hands out, I put my head down, and I'm facing the current, or I'm facing down the current, and then. But on the shallower rapids, you're sucking in your tummy and stuff because it's getting pretty, shallow and you get scraped. And I think my shin, I hit my shin on something because I couldn't just be like soreness from using the flippers. But when I saw you guys, the thing about this rapid is that
particular rapid.
Yeah, this particular
All the rapids were pretty like
straightforward. Although that first one was big for you guys. I was worried about you.
That was big, and Babers was like, bah! She didn't like it, and then after that, all of a sudden she's laughing.
Yeah. And you guys got soaked that first
we didn't get soaked, but we did get wet.
Yeah, so once you guys made it past that one, that was the biggest one. Then I was like, okay, you guys are fine. Like, I need to worry about myself. Because, like I said, a huge rock will come out of the gloom and be right in your way, and you don't want to get pinned against something or whatever. And then there was actually a really nasty snag downriver from where you guys capsized. So I looked for like some of our gear there, but anyway, getting ahead of myself. But when you guys went down there and got stuck, I was like, shoot, I gotta go get them out, because what can happen is that you can capsize, and you get stuck. And so I wanted to pull you guys out. So the thing is that the way the river is at that spot is that it like drops a level. So it's like the river's coming, I don't know how to explain it. Like, this is the main river that comes here, and then there's like a flat spot with all these rocks, and then it can kind of trickle down, but then it feeds down into this other channel that comes out. So it's not like it's a bend where the boat or raft or whatever will follow it. Mm-hmm. It's like a change of direction and change of level also. So you kind of come down this rapid, and then it feeds right into this bank of willows. And you guys got stuck in the willows, and so I was like, shoot, okay, I'm going to go up to the nose and just try and pull them out. Well, when I came down to the rapids and came to the nose, it was strong for me.
Yeah, it was so strong. The current.
So,
it was pushing us against.
Yeah, so you guys were all stuck in the branches, and so I tried to start to pull it, but then it started to pull me, and so I'm fairly certain I got you guys unbalanced. And then once that started happening, and then the water is pushing there, then it's just going to take you guys the rest of the way over. And so you guys started to go. Sophia bailed.
The water started flooding in, yeah.
Yeah, and then you started tipping. So Sophia bailed and went past me, and then I saw you bail, but all of a sudden you popped up like next to me. I thought you would be up by Babers more, because it went from the bow Sophia, Babers, you. Sophia bailed. I looked. She was fine. Babers is still screaming, clinging onto the branches. But I got pushed down when you guys started to bail. I thought the whole thing was going to flip, but it didn't.
And praise God it didn't.
Oh yeah, that would have been bad.
I didn't even think about that.
Because then if you're underneath it, and then you get tangled in the things,
word,
yeah, it could have been really dangerous. And I had like, my floppers are, like I said, are long and big. I mean, I can do a 50-meter pool like easily because you're just cruising. But there was like it was so powerful, the current right there. And where they tipped was the most powerful part of the river where the current was. And so when Nikki bailed, all of a sudden she popped up like behind me.
Let me clarify. I didn't bail. I was sucked under. Like, I don't know because I know I was holding the oar, and the next thing I know, I was just underwater. And yeah, so I don't know how the oar went. I know that my watch unclipped. I lost that. And then of course my sunglasses. Like, I don't even know what happened. All I just know is I saw light, and I was like, holy cow, like, I am getting sucked and I need to get up. So there was nothing I could, like, my intention was to gather children, but there was no time for any of that.
Yeah, and so then when you came up next to me, you were next to me or behind me a little bit. And regardless of where she was, it shocked me that she was here and then how far away she was from her original spot. So then Babers is screaming and she's still in the boat. And so we're like, Babers, let go so that we could, because we didn't want it to continue to flip, and then then you've got that whole entanglement thing. So I'm swimming, and I think it was about that time I threw my back out, because I just started to swim as hard as I could freestyle up, and I was just kicking as hard as I could with my floppers, and I wasn't making any progress really. Like, I made them maybe a little bit, but then I had to grab onto the branches because there were some branches underneath the water and on the water, and then like hand over fist, get myself up to where Babers was. And then at that point, Nikki was yelling for her to let go, and I told her to let go. And I was there closer than we both remember, I think, because what ended up happening is, and it's interesting how you get fuzzy on the details, but there's so much information coming in that your brain can only like absorb so much. And so she came and I grabbed her, and at the same time I grabbed our dry bag.
Well, she finally let go.
Yeah, she let go, but she didn't like float down to me. That's
right.
Not
I
what
think
happened.
she was like had to be like right there.
I feel like I was there and then told her to let go, and she let go, and I grabbed her, and then I had her back to me, and I grabbed the dry bag.
So he was like an otter.
Yeah.
And she was the baby otter.
No, she was the muscle. I was gonna cry. So I had her, and then I had the dry bag, and I just kicked on my back all the way back to the shore to the other side. But she was still crying and screaming, and then once we got there, I got her settled. She was soaked. I opened up the dry bag because it looked like it was compressed, so it looked like water had gotten in there. I'm like, because I had my phone, I had my wallet, I had my key, or Nikki had her keys in there. And I'm like, shoot, and I knew Nikki's phone had dropped in the water because she is busy vlogging in the,
I wasn't vlogging,
well,
I was trying to do stuff.
Anyway. So, needless to say, I knew that her phone was out, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, we can't have both of our phones be done for. So, I made sure mine was fine, and it was. She just compressed the air out of it when she blew it down.
Whoops.
Note to self, you want to have your dry bags full of air.
Okay, this isn't like a dry bag lesson.
So that if you go in the water, it floats. And not to say that it was sinking, but I mean, it has a potential to. So anyway, and then I had my t-shirt in there, and then her jacket was in there, thank goodness. and so was Baber's
And Baber's jacket. Yeah, because
So
then you stripped down Baber's.
I told Babers to take all her clothes off because it was cold. I mean, like, I had my wetsuit on, but I was so cold. I have a 5 mil, and it's a 2-piece. Yeah, it's old, and it doesn't, have the same, it's not like that thing's older than 15 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, meanwhile, once I got Babers onto the shore and got her, like, okay, now you need to do this, get undressed, so then she's not freaking out, she's actually has a task to do. Then I could see downstream that Nikki was there with Sophia, and like I said, I saw Sophia earlier and she was fine, and she's on the swim team, so like I wasn't really worried about her, and she had her life jacket on. The other thing is that she had asked to have it just kind of like loosely buckled, and it wasn't even zipped. And I told her, I said, no, you don't know what's going to happen. Zip it up and have it tight. So we did that. And then she told me later on the car ride home that she had asked you to take her life jacket off like the bend or two before. And then Sophia told her, no, Papa will get upset. And
yeah, I didn't say anything. She answered the question for herself. She like knew, okay, no, I need to.
Yeah, so I'm glad. So always wear your life jackets.
Yes.
And then
I should have been wearing a life jacket.
yeah. But I looked down to see them, and they've got the kayak, and I'm like, how did the kayak get free? And then I see like there's a black thing in the willows, and I thought maybe that was a branch.
Yeah, I
thought
thought it was like,
I thought it was a jacket or a shirt or something. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go back. I got to look for her phone, look for we had water bottles, their boots. What else? Life jacket. I saw a life jacket stuck in the thing also. So, and that's the other thing. Did you already tell that the life jacket popped up next to you?
Oh, it just floated right to me. It was crazy.
So then once they got settled and they were starting to come up to where Babers was, and I told Nikki, I'm going to go back and do another. I'm going to try and get some stuff. So I go back, and by that time my back was hurting. Like it was like out.
I could see on your face you were just like I got to go back out. Like you were, each time you came back, you were just like, okay, like mentally preparing yourself.
Yeah. Because
that was excursion.
That was over halfway through the float.
Yeah.
I was getting cold by that point. We'd been in the water for what, 3 hours? 2.5 hours at least. And I was getting cold. My hands were getting cold. My legs were getting sore because I'm not used to those huge flippers. And then I was hungry. We were starving. We had breakfast, and then we had snacks. But anyway.
Yeah, I just had brought snacks. I didn't think to bring like a lunch.
So I go back, and I'm fiddling with my shoes because my shoes were caught in the branches, and I'm like trying to get them undone. And then I see Nikki's phone at the bottom, and I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna get that. So I go down to get it, and I come up, and I don't check it or anything. I don't want to push any buttons just because, and I'm trying to put it in my wetsuit somehow so I can swim back, but then...
Did you put it in your mouth at one point?
No, I was trying to put it like down the hood, but
maybe if you had put it like...
No, it would have been too...
I don't know.
I didn't want to risk losing it again. And then this drift boat came by, and they were fishing. Here's a guy, it looked like a guide, and they were fly fishing. They were just working this riffle, which... I did see a lot of trout at that riffle. Like, that was a good spot, but we kind of ruined it for them.
Yeah. So,
finally, I made it back to them, had the phone. She asked, is it working? Click the button. Boom, it turned on. So,
yeah.
And honestly, I do, like, obviously, like, the Lord was looking out for us. But also, like, the OtterBox has that little thing that plugs the power port, and that helps keep stuff out.
Yeah. I mean...
But the fact that I found it right there...
The fact that you found it, the fact that my phone is completely black, and it was just, like, in the perfect spot. And then it's like, yeah, okay, so it was so it was in the OtterBox, you know what I mean? But still, it's like, why did I pick that OtterBox? You know what I mean? Like, it's a new whole version thing, that this box, it's a different kind, and I'm just like... Everything was just, it was too perfect.
Yeah. So, I went back. When that happened, I had undone my shoes, and then they just floated away.
Yeah.
And I thought I would get them, but I didn't. And then I went back and looked for her watch, got the life jacket, got the black thing that was in the branches was the paddle.
Was the oar.
The one paddle that we had.
Yeah.
And so that was really awesome that it was just like stuck there. So I grabbed the life jacket and went over. So I made three trips, and then when we left, I did another trip, and I was looking for your watch and looking for things. But
yeah, I was pretty bummed. Like, I honestly was on such like it's funny because for me, like, trials are a spiritual experience. Like, I'm super conscious about, you know, I think about the story of the disciples. It's one of my favorite stories about how they're in a storm and they're all freaking out. Lord, save us. And Jesus is over there sleeping. And he's like, why are we afraid? Why are we afraid when I was with you? And Jesus says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And he's always with you. And he's like, in this world, you're going to have trials and tribulations, but take heart, I've overcome the world. So it's like actually applying that to your life, learning how to sleep in the storm. There's a song. Do you remember who sings that song? If I find it, I'll put it in the description a little bit. It says, teach me how to sleep in the storm teach me how to sleep in the storm by unspoken. And it's like, that's what it is. When you're going through a trial, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through a scary thing, it's like, know that God is with you. Know that you do not have to fear. He says, don't be afraid. Don't worry. Don't worry about anything. And to actually do that is amazing. And for me, it was like, you know, my first reaction is like, you can't help but worry. But it's your choice whether you're going to continue in that worry and fear. Like, I'm not saying, oh, you're just going to not worry. Like, we are human. We are sinful beings. But it's like to actually say, God, you got this. I am choosing to know that you're here and you're taking care of everything, and just how everything worked out. And the whole time I'm just like praising God for every little thing. Like, oh, the water bottle was tucked away, praise God. And like even the kids were like, oh, praise God. It's like you just turned it around. Like, you know, you're setting the tone for this trial. And I'm telling Sophia, you know, and but then the other thing was, I was praying about, like, for God to find my phone and for it to work completely. And then I was praying about my watch, and I'm like, oh, it's okay, God. It's okay if you don't find my watch. You know, I need to find everything. And after that prayer, Sophia was like, don't limit God. Like, and it was just so cool to hear her boldness. And, like, why are you limiting God? Like, he can do anything. And just the experiences that these kids are having. And it's like, and what I told them afterwards was, because to me, I realized, like, I know that people are going to think I'm totally crazy. And yeah, it's not the first time people have said that to me. Like, I realize that I'm over the top. But the Bible says, consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds. And to me, it was pure joy to be going through this trial. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, I realized it was awesome. And I'm telling they were like, no, it was terrible. And I'm like, no, it's so cool to see how God is like doing all these things. And I told the girls, never ask God to rescue you from your trial. Ask him to see you through it. And I think that is where I am. It's like, we're gonna have trials, period. And don't ask him to save you from it. Ask him to see you through it, however he wants to do it. And in that time, it was like, yeah, we could have been like, oh my word, this terrible thing happened to us. And, you know, it was just terrible. But it's like choosing to focus on what God did in that trial. And I just think, especially seeing the kids and how they reacted to that trial. Sophia, she was so chill. Like, she wasn't worried about anything. The only thing she was worried about was the fish. She didn't want to be in the water with the fish because she saw how big they were. And then it was like, that was her only concern. But she was there on a branch, like, waiting for us. Like, not worried at all. Babers was scared. And to me, it was like, I saw this, like, maturity in life, but let's put it into a spiritual set. I just think, like, Sophia was like, dude, I'm not worried. Like, Mom and Papa are here, you know. And Babers, she was, you know, spiritually immature, and that's okay. It's okay that she was like that. She was holding on the branch because right before we had gone under, I'm like, hey, girls, grab the branches and let's try and work our way out. And she just hung on to the branch, and I'm glad that she hung on to the branch. But the problem is that she kept screaming and yelling and crying, which was, you know, normal. But it was like we were yelling at her, let go, let go. So afterwards we were able to talk to her, like, if we're ever in a situation, like, you gotta stay calm and listen for instructions. And that is us in life, in our spiritual journey. Don't freak out when trials come your way. Stay calm, know that God is there, and listen for his instructions.